guys, this is Carrie with Fullerton Professional Organizing, and I have one of my favorite. She doesn't do very many YouTubes, but she's an organizer. She talks about organizing her home and decluttering mostly. Her name is Dana K. White. A Slob Comes Clean, and she says you don't need to do any organizing until you declutter, and decluttering doesn't take any effort. And I'll tell you a little bit more. She says that yes, decluttering and organizing is physical, but what we struggle with the most is emotional energy. The emotional energy is what gives us the most hardest time when it comes to decluttering and organizing. It's that energy, that's the energy that is drained out of us when we think about starting to declutter and organize. It's not the physical energy that we're not feeling when it comes to the overwhelming clutter. It's actually the emotional energy that is draining out of us. Dealing with the process and knowledge that the emotional energy to tackle it is actually our problem. So she says take the emotions out of it. Instead of asking questions about the value of all of your items before you take it out, just because when you ask yourself the value of what you're taking out of the space, that is when it drains your energy, because you have to make decisions. So it says take the emotions out. Instead of looking at a thing and thinking, I'm going to have to decide on the value of every item, I'm going to have to decide, is it worth keeping? Is it something I'll ever use? That's emotionally draining. So taking those emotions out of the decluttering process actually will help make real progress. She said, for some people, it is an emotional struggle to declutter, clean, and organize their home. When it comes to overwhelming clutter, it takes so much emotional energy that people just do not want to deal with it. There is a emotional reason the items were there in the first place. You thought it was great, you loved it, you wanted it, you were going to use it, you were going to do all these things with it. And there's an emotional connection when you purchased it and brought it into the home. There's an emotional connection already. And she says, do not think about the item. Think about where this item fits into your space. She says, ask, where would I look for this item? Where would I look for this item? Not where should I look for this item? Wait, where would I look for this item? A great example is, will you look in your, the other is, where would I look for it if I needed it? And would I buy it again if I needed it? Or can you use something else in its place? This is an example because this is how I use that concept. I can't remember some doctors' names. I have a doctor's name that I can't even pronounce, so I don't remember how to pronounce it. I don't even remember what it is because it just doesn't stick in my mind. So I have to list all of the doctors under doctor. That's where I would find doctors' phone numbers, is under doctor. I can't put it under their name because I'll never remember their name. So wherever you'll remember to look for something, that's where it needs to go. So that makes it really interesting. Let's see here. If you go ahead and get rid of it, then your focus becomes on having your space be better than it was before. I may not be able to be finished with the space today, but I'm going to work on this space. There is value in working on it even when you're not sure that it's actually going to be completely finished. She's just saying that just get started. Start with the obvious items. Start with the obvious items in your space. Broken items, stained items, items that can be thrown out. When the items you know you do not use or want, you will see progress and feel less and less overwhelmed. Little by little, you will see the progress. So in other words, make your home better, not perfect. There is no such thing as having a perfectly clean and tidy home all the time. Stuff will always come into your home as long as you live and others live with you. As long as you're making your home better than it was before, you have been successful. When you have a different mindset, then you can keep going one step at a time. Real progress comes from the realization that decluttering never ends. And we just said that because you're still living, more stuff is coming into your home. And she says, get in a mindset of just one more step, and then it should make your home better. She also says decluttering is not organizing. You cannot organize until you declutter. When you organize, you're trying to find a place for things. You're having to think. You're having to analyze. When you declutter, you're letting go of items that no longer are useful to you or that you cannot use or need. After you declutter, then there will be more space for the items that stay in your home. Having less stuff makes it easier to find the items you use and need when you need it. You will also have less items to tidy and less items to wash. After you live in your decluttered home for a while, then you may find out you do need a container or some type of item. You may have to buy a bookshelf or a bin or a basket, but not until you know what is going to live in your space. She says decluttering is not organizing. I have nothing to do before I get started decluttering. I don't have to analyze anything. I don't have to think how this space is going to work. I don't have to go buy a bunch of bins and baskets. And then she talks about sentimental items, the feelings that you want to hold on to by keeping the sentimental items. Those feelings that you want to hold on to by keeping your kids' baby clothes or that item, that sentimental item, you can get from one adorable baby outfit or one little trinket, or if you got handed a whole set of dishes from grandma, but you don't like the dishes and you'll never use the dishes, donate them to someone that will, or sell them, but keep one teacup to remember. Those are just some tips and ideas. It says and she says do sentimental items last. If you're doing a decluttering project, do that last. That's the hardest. Get rid of the broken items, stained items, unused items. Let go of the things you don't like, that you're going to get rid of anyway, and you're going to have momentum in that space to keep going. Do not pull everything out. Don't pull everything out of a space. That's too if that's too overwhelming. Some people are able to pull the whole closet out, do a declutter, put the whole closet back in. It always depends on how badly your closet needed the declutter. If it's just a regular clutter that accumulates over a year, then you may be able to take everything out and put it all back in a day. But sometimes the clutter has accumulated over years, and in that case, it would be too overwhelming and too time consuming to take everything out. It's easier to go one shelf at a time, a few items at a time. Do not pull it all out if it is overwhelming or you do not have time to finish the whole process. Do a little at a time. Start with a drawer or a cabinet or a shelf. Pull one item at a time and make one decision at a time. If it is staying, go right ahead and find a home for it right away. Don't wait till you have a bunch of things to find a home for. Go put it away right away. Find its home by asking these questions. If I need this item, we already talked about this. If I need this item, where would I look for first? Or if I needed it, would I remember that I had it? Decide if it is trash, donate, or sell. If you're going to sell it, list it right away. Don't wait. But put it in that donation box. Then if it sells, you can take it out of the donation box and give it to the person that purchased it. But if it doesn't sell, then it's already in the donation box and it's ready to go. Now you can declutter. Let's see. Deal with the easy stuff first. The easiest of the easy. Declutter, then live with your space for a while before thinking about the organizing. When you do that, you're going to realize which places and which items. You'll realize a bin here would work or a basket here would be nice. You'll know what you need bins for, what you'll need baskets for, and where it's going to go. You'll know if it worked. If it didn't work, then maybe it'll work better over here. So these are all decisions that need to be made before you start buying any bins or baskets. She also suggests that take a picture of your space every so often so that you can see the progress that you've made. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees because you're in this too close. And she says now you can also declutter for 5 minutes at a time, or if you're really good at decluttering, you can find that you can go 15 minutes at a time with no pressure. Without the pressure, you may find that your 5 minutes may expand into 5 hours or 5 days. She says take a picture. You will be inspired to declutter when you see how much progress you have really made. So those are some tips. I had already used some of those tips and I've already told you some of those ideas. A lot of the organizers that I study, they have some of the same processes. All of them say start with the easy stuff. Dana White from Slob Comes Clean, she struggles with being overwhelmed super easy. So she suggests if you get overwhelmed very easily, to don't try to take the whole cabinet out or the whole closet of clothes out. Try to do what you can one step at a time, and try not to let yourself even get to that state of overwhelm where all that emotional energy is drained out of your body. that there are ways to keep yourself motivated and enjoy the process without putting all the pressure on you to get it done. Because, like she said, decluttering never ends. It's an ongoing process because you have a family, and that's just part of life. So don't try to be perfectionistic about it. Just go one step at a time, because as long as you keep going one step at a time, even if you're going slow, but you keep going, there's always going to be progress. Your home's going to always get better and better. She says, and I'm going to read this part again. Well, no, I guess I'm not, because I don't know where that was, but I had already mentioned it to you anyway, that it's just going to make your, oh, here it is. She says, take the emotions out. Instead of looking at the thing and thinking, I'm going to have to decide on the value. Is it something I'll ever use? Just take those emotions out. Oh, real progress comes from the realization that decluttering never ends. It just never does. There is no such thing as having your house perfect, and it's going to stay perfect forever, because as long as you're living, more stuff is coming into your home. So give yourself some grace, and just realize that it's gonna get better if you just keep going. All right, guys, I hope learning from different people that I'm presenting to you give you different perspectives on decluttering and organizing, and that there's something that you can grab a hold of and apply to your life that will make it simpler for you. And I appreciate you, and I thank you for listening and those for watching, and I will see you on the next podcast and the next YouTube, and I appreciate you.